Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Highruler, and today's video is going to be something a little bit different. So a few days ago, I posted a video talking about time gating and time traveling, right? It was in response to the patch, which kind of patched out that time travel method that a lot of people were using in order to kind of play the raid. Some played the raid up to 175 super quick. Some basically just kind of took their time, but used it as a means to kind of get more loot in order to kind of bypass that one loot that they were getting for subsequent runs. And, basically it was up to whoever to use it however they saw fit. Now, Trix was the one who showcased it on his channel, and he was the one who said, here's how to do it, boys. Have fun. There it is. Now, Trix has said before that he does not regret posting that video, nor any of the other videos he's posted. And because of that, obviously he was under the eye of Crystal Dynamics and ScreenX. Now, tonight at 9:04 p.m., he posted a tweet basically saying, I've been banned for 10 days and from Marvel's Avengers. And, he goes on to say that first and foremost, do not harass Crystal Dynamics or anyone associated. He says he accepts this as an honor. I regret nothing and will always choose community over the developer. He says video tomorrow, but otherwise see ya in 10 days. Now, the reason I'm posting this video tonight and talking about this, because I think this is a real interesting moment in Marvel's Avengers history, because when you look at Trix's ban, or even what Trix has done with some of these videos, there's an interesting kind of diverging mindset here, whether you believe that Trix was helping the community or hurting the community, right? Because there are some people who say, like, I don't agree with what Trix did. I don't agree with showcasing the exploits. And because of that, I'm glad he's banned or whatever, right? Versus some people who have the belief that, what Trix did was kind of helping players engage with the game more. And because of that, they don't believe that what Trix did is warranting of a ban, right? He wasn't really doing much that they feel is detrimental to the game. I would be inclined to agree with those people. All things considered, I would, be more inclined to agree with those. Because when you ask yourself, the question is, did Trix do anything that could potentially hurt the game? Now, from a community standpoint, from a place where I sit, which is, with people who are in the community talk to me and I get all this feedback, right? The feedback that I've been getting is that people weren't really upset that the time travel exploit existed. They were upset that it got patched, right? And because of that, they feel that now they have no reason to engage with the game past that weekly reset, right? Even though that they, give you a new piece of exotic gear every time you complete the raid after your first completion, people don't feel like they should be kind of, playing the raid after that because it's just not worth their time, right? And it's really interesting to see kind of these different opinions, kind of develop over time, right? And one of the things that I tweeted here, so I'm going to use my tweets here as kind of a backdrop to the rest of this conversation, and we're going to check out some tweets from Chase Shockblast. So what I said is that I'm not a game developer, obviously, so forgive me if I'm totally off base, but if players are engaging in time travel to get around the time gating, why isn't there some discussion from CD with the community and the community with CD about making the game more engaging for the players who feel like they need to do that? There's obviously a demand there from players to have more loot, more gameplay, and to generally play the game more. I can literally only speak from a community standpoint where people feel upset over that decision, but why has it come to this? If they want to ban TrixRidiculous, then so be it. It is what it is. But I find it hard to believe that he didn't satisfy an urge that people had for the game that even some of your other content creators engage with in order to play the game more. And I think that's a really interesting kind of situation that Avengers has found itself in, right? Because of their actions of time gating. And to be clear, time gating is something that is very systemic to the industry, right? You can look at other MMO lights. You can look at MMOs, for example. This is not just a Crystal Dynamics and ScreenX problem. But, of course, I can't talk about the other games because I'm not a part of them, right? I can only speak to what is happening with Avengers, right? It seems like at every turn, there's always been something related to time gating with a lot of these conversations, right? And I think there's always going to be those kind of questions and conversations to have unless Crystal Dynamics comes out and says, here's what the data shows us, here's what we believe, and because of that, we're never going to get around it, right? We're never going to have no time gating. We're not even going to go back to those 3 resets because for a while there, guys, as I mentioned in the last video, if you guys don't remember, right before Wakanda came out, they did 3 resets a week, right? And then that went away to never come back again, right? And I think there's an opportunity here as a come to God moment for Crystal Dynamics to understand what players are asking for, right? They're not asking to cheat the game, right? They're not asking to be Jon Snow's and to save exploit and to save editor and to, go around one-shotting everything. They're not. They're asking to play the game more, to be rewarded for their time, to engage with the game for longer periods than a few days a week after the weekly reset, right? And to be honest with you, Trix satisfied that for a lot of people. He said, here's the tools you need in order to play the game longer. And there is arguments to be had there, right? Whether you believe it or not, I think that's not a decisive black or white opinion. I think there's arguments to be had that Trix may have done something that was beneficial for a small part of the game, but still a part of the game nonetheless. And I think there is opportunity here for Crystal Dynamics to understand player behavior. Because I think, now once again, I'm not a developer, so I can't speak from a developer standpoint, but I would think that, if your players are engaging in behavior and you see that behavior taking place, the answer isn't to just ban people, I would think anyways. The answer would be to understand why your players are doing this in the first place, right? If I'm a player and I'm doing X and I'm a developer and I'm looking at that, I got to go, okay, why are players doing this, right? What is the benefit to them? How can we turn that into a benefit for us? And how do we get around this in the most player beneficial way possible, right? Because at the end of the day, a player is always going to look out for themselves, right? Content creators, for the most part, are always going to look out for the players, right? And I think developers, it needs to not be an us versus them, right? Crystal Dynamics can't look at this and say players are exploiting, they're glitching, they're ruining our game. It's not that serious. Players are looking to play the game more. At least personally, that's what I'm looking at it as. And I think there has to be a moment here where Crystal Dynamics looks at this and hopefully sees a lot of the feedback here and says, okay, maybe we need to do something here, right? That come to God moment. And to even further this, I'm going to look at Jay Shockblast, because Jay Shockblast responded to this, I think, in a very good way. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, guys, and if you want to read this, I'll put it down in the description below. But he said, this is a really tough situation. I don't know that I agree with how it is being handled. Silver lining, it is 10 days instead of forever, but I think CD is an opportunity to work with people like Trix in the community that are honestly doing a better job getting people to play their game than they are. I think even Trix knew he was messing with fire on this, but this is a fact. Shipments is a fantastic idea, completely saddled by how unfun it is to grind for units. So is anyone really surprised that people are trying to make it less grindy? I understand they're collecting data and are trying to figure out a way to balance earning units, but realistically, in every possible way that people find to try and play this game, they have thrown up walls and said no. Play the way that we want you to, and that is rough. Now, I'm going to leave the rest of it there for you guys if you want to go and read it, but he has a point. Whenever players try and look at the game and say, hey, we would really like X, Crystal Dynamics doesn't really respond to that, right? And when they did, they took it away. Now, like I said in the last video, is it possible that they bend to give us 3 resets back? I mean, yes, I would like to think that is possible. But I think, once again, they have to understand why this is happening, right? They have to look at player engagement, player behavior. They have to look at what players are doing and respond to it in a way that kind of benefits all parties. Time gating is only really there to benefit the developers, right? I think most people understand that, right? It's a way to extend content past what they believe is the initial time, right? It's say, hey, we know our content isn't going to be that long, but if we extend the leveling process, we time gate it, then yes, we can actually artificially extend it out there, right? Like I said, we're seeing it a lot in New World right now, which I'm keeping my eye on. And I think, honestly, this is not just a Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix problem. This is an industry problem, right? But instead of, going with time gating, I think, honestly, the answer is to let people do what they want. And I really honestly think that if people get what they want and say, hey, here's no more time gating, and then their response is, you guys need content faster, the answer is to run that content that we allowed you to, kind of play at your own discretion, get the loot that you want, mess around with builds, try this, try that, right? I think that's a better answer than we're going to drag this out over time and we're going to ban a content creator who kind of showcased the way around that. Let's be honest. The way Trix got around is he changed the clock on his PS5. It's not that hard, right? It really isn't. Same thing with all these things, right? Time traveling is a matter of changing your clock on your system. It's not like he, edited his save and then, brought that into the game. Just saying. It's not this hard, guys. This has to be a come to God moment to say, hey, here's what happened. Let's learn from this and let's engage our players in a way that makes everyone happy here. Players want to play the game. They don't want to feel restricted to their play times, right? And honestly, at this point in time, I don't know what the answer is for Crystal Dynamics at this point, because what I think is the answer, obviously they don't think it is. And with that being said, I don't know where the future lies when it comes to time gating and their philosophy here. I would like to think that, obviously they had to ban Trix because obviously to them, once again, they could ban anyone for whatever reason. Like I said, they could probably get rid of me if they wanted to, right? But I would like to think that, it's, hey, we have to send a message to Trix, but we're also going to do something here to benefit the greater community that we're benefiting from Trix's video. They could do that. That's great. I don't think anyone's an issue with that, right? Trix obviously doesn't care. He would say, hey, it's a vacation for me, fine. But I think at the end of the day, the players that benefited from Trix's videos are the ones that are hurting right now. And I think those are the people that you need to respond to, right? Banning Trix is a response to those people looking at this and saying, wow, I guess that's it, right? Like no more time gating, no more, or, no more time traveling. We're going to have to deal with the weekly resets. You want to put a response that says, hey, we understand that players were engaging in behavior. We are looking at that behavior to kind of, alter the way we do things, and we'll have a response as soon as we can. There you go. I mean, I don't know who's in charge of this, but the answers are right there in front of you. You just have to take the first step to engage in those answers. And if you do, it's not going to hurt the casual people, right? The people that play a few days a week, they're going to be fine. Benefit the people that want to play your game. Benefit those content creators who are trying to play the game over and over again, right? Benefit the people that are here trying to keep this game alive at that end game state. As Jay Shockblast will tell you, there are games coming this year. You got to start being a little more player friendly, or these players are going to find home somewhere else. And the Marvel brain ain't going to keep a lot of these players around anymore. And with that being said, that's it for the video today. Whether you agree with me or not, I'd love to read it in the comments below. Let me get your thoughts on that one. And I can't wait to see you guys for some Marvel's Avengers tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Can't wait to see you guys there. If you enjoyed this, you want more Marvel's Avengers content, let me know by liking the video, subscribing to the channel. I'll see you guys next time here. Enjoy the rest of your day and night. Take care of yourselves. Later, guys.